The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2. The point is verse 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11. And it reads, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." 2 Corinthians chapter 2 in the verse 11. 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11 in the NLT. So that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to God, Loyam Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Chagadas Wakatham. Double honors to my elders, the elders and apostles of the great millstone who teach and do rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Saba out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And this lesson is in regards to an article I came across, I believe over the weekend. And Lord willingly, this is an edifying lesson. When you go into that word devices in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11.
Strong's G 3540, Naima.
It says a mental perception, a thought, an evil purpose, that which thinks the mind, thoughts, or purpose. Tells you that this devil, pretty much, how does it go? It says that Micah. Look at Micah chapter 2, verse 1, and it reads, "Woe to them that devise of iniquity and work of evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand." The scripture tell you that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked.
Strong's H 2803, Chashav.
It says to think, to plan, to esteem, calculate, invent, imagine, count, to plan, devise, mean, to charge, to invent, be thought, be esteemed, to be computed, to think upon, consider, be mindful of, to think, to do, devise. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds when it is light, or Salakia, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And who was that in regards to? Who is this speaking about? This red Hebrew Edomite, Esau Edom, so-called white man, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, who's really red in appearance, but because his blood shows forth through his skin. This man has came to this country, Babylon the Great, known as America, and pretty much coveted and taken by force, the lands of Gad and Reuben, so-called North American Indians, and you Reubenites, you Seminole Indians, they profess themselves to be the children of the Most High God, when these people don't even really believe in the Most High God, Verse 3, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go hauntingly, for this time is evil. That's the point. But, the Lord is setting this devil up, because ultimately all of this that's taking place is the will of the Lord, and it tells you that pretty much that the Lord, he won't accomplish, he's going to start it off, but he's not going to fully accomplish his endeavor. The book of Job tells you that. I believe Job chapter 20. When he's in straits, he will be a derision. Job 20 and verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When you go into that word wicked, it's laborers.
Strong's H 6001. A male. A male.
Who were the biggest workmen over here? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, some of the Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. You know, I got a job and I'm working with Northern Kingdom Jakes. Well, Northern Kingdom Israelites. And you know, it's funny because we work around two Edomites, and these Edomites are extremely lazy. You know, and completely always whining about the work. You know, but you know, I've been a little bit everywhere. You know, but point being, this devil pretty much is creating a system that you're going to have to, you know, pretty much you're going to be, what's the word? Uh, a system that you can't really pretty much get around, and it's ultimately the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, the Lord is about to, you know, pretty much test the faith of all these people, especially Jake. You know, and it's funny because I keep on running into non-believers. You know what I mean? like I'm talking about, so you know, and I remember the elder Apostle Sahar was saying not being yoked amongst unbelievers. You know, it just it's funny to me though. Like it's like the Lord having these demons come out of nowhere though. You know what I mean? It's just like it's scary too because it's like wow, you really don't. You know, what it sound like to me. Like in their mind, when I tell them something, it's like they sound like it sound far fetched or I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, damn, you have no hope in nothing but what the fuck you see. So wow, you gonna be just, you know, you just gonna die horribly. You know what I mean? Like, and bitch, in that day, don't come trying to, you know, like real shit. Like, don't dun 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 none of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole bunch of people I'm gonna walk past or walk, you know, like like I told Jake one time. I told one of the brothers, you know, I'm gonna be walking over motherfuckers. You know, like he said on that movie Watchmen, you gonna say help, and he gonna say no. You know what I mean? But Salakia. But I got this article that goes into pretty much, you know, they're gonna implement a social credit system here because that's gonna all tie in. You know, you gotta remember, Klaus Schwab pretty much said he was impressed with the Chinese model of, the Moabite model of how they, handled everything, and he wants that for Babylon the Great. Says a Chinese style social credit system is coming to America. This is dated May 28, 2024. The ease with which personal banking is conducted in the modern West would surely cause some envy to our mattress stuffing ancestors. Cash point machines abound, plastic is easy to carry and most comforting. One's money is backed by the full faith and credit of the government. The government is in debt. It has importantly, unless one fundamental transgresses the legal order, we can be sure our capital is always at a moment's access. Put another way, except in cases usually pertaining to national security, banks are rather indifferent to a client's private life. And you're hearing about reports now where you got the banks checking your personal information, your Facebook and shit like that. You know what I mean? The good, the bad, and the ugly are all welcome, provided they have the right decimal point. It's like a decimal count. And so it pains me to report that in America, a peculiar phenomenon dubbed debanking is beginning to occur with increasing visibility. Debanking or de-risking is what it sounds like. A bank will, for legal liability or reputational risk, terminate with notice an individual account. And I've seen that happen in like all last year. You had certain, I believe, Chase. And it's funny because I was just watching somebody who was talking about Chase, then Wells Fargo and somebody else, another bank, pretty much, I want to say Citigroup, but don't want to lie either. They pretty much are being investigated. But I remember Chase was one of the banks that pretty much was closing a lot of customers' accounts. Normally, this does not grab our attention. Criminal organizations and terrorists, we all agree, should be frozen out. And of course, banks may choose with whom to conduct business. Recently, over a dozen Republican attorneys general Recently, over a dozen Republican attorneys general, the main legal advisor to our state governors, wrote a letter to Brian T. Mon, 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 Moynihan, the chairman of the board and CEO of Bank of America, noting that the institution appears to be conditioning access to its services on customers having the bank's preferred religious or political views. And okay, so you realize what they're saying. They're saying based on your political or religious views, they can pretty much deny access for you, pretty much having the ability to obtain your money. In a 7-page memo, the Attorney General's outlined BOA's partnership with the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the U.S. Treasury to profile conservative and religious Americans as potential domestic terrorists. Now let's let that sink in a minute. Again, so based on who you are affiliated with, depending on if you who you are leaning more towards voting for or what your religious belief is, they can freeze you out of your account. And like I said again, I remember reading briefly some articles about people talking about how they pretty much was frozen out of their account. The seeming weaponization of our banking institutions to target Americans guilty of wrongthink is, you heard the phrase wrongthink, and that's pretty much what exactly this is. They're weaponizing just like they weaponize everything else, because at the end of the day, what was that on Saul? He said pretty much when you in hell, the only one you can get help from is the devil, roughly paraphrasing. So again, scriptures talk about, matter of fact, I'm going to bring it up. It's the book of Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. And that's what majority of 2/3 of our people going to do. They going to not, turn to the Lord. Like I said, again, I just had a situation I just recently went through, and I knew the person wasn't a full. I mean, I knew that they didn't know about Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, but this person pretty much like a demon really came out of this person. And the crazy part is, like it was like one way, and then it was like the Lord really had the spirit come out. And the thing is, like not my landlady, my neighbor, she's an older Jake woman, and she reads the scriptures. You know what I mean? I've tried to tell her certain things, but glass half full or whatever. But me and her from time to time discuss certain things, and I mean that demon came out to the point where she's seen it. You know what I mean? It was so spiritual because the chick, her son got to saying she was wrong. Everybody saying they wrong. My kids knew better than what I mean. But and I just stopped talking to her. I said, well, damn, what are we gonna do after this? I mean, how you gonna fix this? Because we ain't got shit to say no more. You know what I mean? Like, bitch, you know what I mean? But it's like it really was like a demon came out of her, and the neighbors seen that shit. So my point being is pretty much our people are going to turn to everything, but we stay on a street called Kinsman, and I was going into kinsman is mentioned in the Bible, and I was saying how kinsman pretty much it's all Jacob there. And what is a kinsman? A kinsman is a fellow brother or sister of your tribe, because all the Israelites stayed with one another. Because they all stayed in the same the tribe. These tribes all had a lot of land, and it's just like you don't even understand that much. So like I say, like you niggas are so far gone, you know what I mean? Like y'all stealing from the old lady, from whoever shit, and nobody got nothing. That's why the Lord actually fucked up, because I remember she was telling me about like all their food went bad because of them storms. That's what the fuck they get, you a bunch of demons. Verse 2, that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. And again, you're going to have a lot of our people that's going to run to get whatever help Edom got. You know what I mean? It's going to be like just like the people going to be running to go to Wendy's and McDonald's and all these burger places to participate in a penny hamburger. You don't even know what that shit is. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about how bad this economy is. How can they afford to sell you a burger for a penny? Make you wonder, like during the lockdown, how was they getting, if all the supply chains was fucked up, how was they getting these burger patties? And I remember, you know, what was that, Shake Shack, and they had some decent burgers, but I remember they meat changed, like the meat changed during that pandemic. So you know what I mean? Like you don't know what the fuck we eat. You know what I mean? And if the Lord was to fully reveal everything to you, you might, have a mental episode or a brain, you might spaz out and go on a killing spree, like your mind might completely crack, like off of motherfucking memento or you know what I mean, like real, like seriously though, like back in the article it says the seeming weaponization of our banking institutions to target Americans guilty of wrongthink is of a piece with the targeted censorship from certain behemoths in Silicon Valley. It was not too long ago that the New York Post, a paper founded by Alexander Hamilton, found its reporting on Hunter Biden's limited by Facebook and Twitter. In effect, this meant that the story would not gain traction on two of the largest news platforms on earth. Banking, like our modern news consumption, is by and large transacted through a digital medium. And pretty much that's what they about to put you in a situation where everything's going to be digital. So, if you do anything that they don't like, they could just, like, what was that guy's name? Alex Jones and, damn, guy that made Trading Places. The elders were just speaking on him too. Aaron Russo. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you ain't cooperating, what'd he say? He said we're gonna turn off your chip. You know what I mean? Like they want total control. Says making like our modern news consumption is by and large transacted through a digital medium. If an organization is deplatformed from a web server or debanked from, say, the second largest bank in America, claiming nearly 15% of all domestic deposits, there are not many options left, and that is by design. So conservatives should be worried. It was not too long ago that Lois Lerner, head of the IRS's exempt organization unit under President Barack Obama, used her power to specifically target conservative nonprofits. This clear government maleficence was met with outrage and she was forced to resign. The private sector, especially the large banks, are not so easy to take to task. This is a problem. A strong banking system built above all else on transparency. And it's always an issue when a government is pretty much in, league with private business. Like when the government had to bail out, the big three auto companies. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not only not only cut against the spirit of free enterprise, but it superempowers an elite few to control the lives of most citizens. Ironically, the very same citizens who are forced to provide bailouts to banks like BOA when times get tough. And those bailouts are coming because they don't have the money to pretty much. That's why you think they ain't been providing no stimulus. There's too much shit going on. And the cold slap in the face is they, supporting certain migrants and whatnot, but you got the average American struggling. This shit gonna be crazy, you know what I'm saying? Call lawyer like y'all, but shot, may the Lord protect his chosen. Because if you don't have the covering of the Lord with the coming times, you're gonna be fucked up. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? So I might read a little bit more. We often scoff at the notion that a social credit regime could never happen in America or UK. This form of tyranny, we believe, is surely not the stuff of democracy. Salaki, not the stuff of democratic regimes devoted to liberty, but it is happening here with increasing success. Yeah, to the point of, like, you think it's coincidence that, like, Elon Musk pretty much is, like, part of Trump's cabinet now and shit like that. Like, yeah, that Trump's all about, Bitcoin and all this shit. Like I say, like, so, because of the fact that they pretty much is creating that system, that beast system. And if you're not a part of the system, then you're gonna pretty much be ostracized from the system. It's the book of Revelations, chapter 13. Goes straight to the point. It's the book of Revelations, chapter 13, and verse 11. And I beheld the beast from the earth, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And when you go into the beast like a lamb, it's going into this political system of Babylon the Great. You got your Republicans and your Democrats. The two horns of power. Because horns represent power, and just like in the ancient Roman, system. You had the plebeians and the patricians. And that's modeled after the Republicans and the Democrats. And he spake as a dragon. A lamb is a peaceful animal, but that dragon is a beast. And Rome was likened onto a dragon. You know, and we all know that this Babylon the Great is, along with NATO and the EU, is, well, that's that beast revived. Scriptures talk about that beast with a deadly wound but was healed. Verse 12, and he exercised of all the power of the first beast before him, and cause of the earth and them that, because the system that they perpetuate, the system, the archaeology, that whole vibration, America pushes that. And he exercised of all the power of the first beast before him, and cause of the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth. It's like on the earth in the sight of men. And that's just, his technology. Look at, his internet, his shit. Look at the Neuralink. You know what I mean? Like, look at the technology. His technology, great wonders, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. Seeing people sign up left and right for this Neuralink shit. And the sad part is, like, I was checking into certain two individuals that got it. These people have no hope. They paraplegics. They can't move anything. So just to be able to move the mouse with the brain, they really hoping that this technology gonna get to the point where they'll be able to walk again. He got their ass, unless the Lord, they look like Edomites anyway, but that's, hope is a hell of a thing. And it made me think about, like I said again, make me reminisce about the situation with the demon bitch, because I'm thinking like, damn, you really up there, really, the Lord got you so blinded and confused, as if like, you really hoping, like, when shit gets so, what's the word, utterly bleak. If you don't have some faith that something, like, I saw the people's faces when we didn't have any electricity. Them older people's Jakes was fucked up. She was salty, you know what I'm saying? So bitch, wait till you can't get no food for your little baby and none of that. I hope the Lord do something to that bitch, so I ain't gotta see her no more. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, because it's going to be persecution. You know what I mean? And you seeing this system being put in play now. You pretty much got, they talking about free speech, coming against free speech. I was just telling Jake he Northern Kingdom, Ephraim at the job though, you know what I mean? Because he'd be surprised, like, as much as Jake, I keep saying Jake, Ephraim knows some stuff because, this internet is a deadly motherfucker. But, like I say, like, he probably even heard the Israelite thing. the truth. But yet still, because he talking about the Illuminati and this and this and that. So he said a little shit. But like, do you even know? Because it was so much he didn't know. I'm like, did you know that Trump shut down the government? People don't even remember that. That's crazy to me. What the fuck is you doing? And I know he off in the world, like he told me a little bit about his life. I would never kick it with this dude, but you know what I mean? Like, you got too many demons or you try to get around me for whatever reason, but he cool for at the job, you know what I mean? Like, but like y'all just really don't realize what the Lord about to do. So yeah, persecution coming, you know. Verse 16, he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their forehead. It's like receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You go into that word mark. It's the word charagma.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
And it says a stamp and a printed mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. It's not one Antichrist, but many Antichrists. It says the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculptured, graven work, and idolatrous image. Karax.
Strong's G 5482. Charax. Charax.
Which is a pale or a stake or a palisade. So, when you go into the sea hip, it looks like a grain of rice, which is like a palisade or a stake, And when you go into that technology, like I said, you see the needle, they inject that in you, And basically, if you choose to partake in that system, choosing to take that sea hip or getting that mark, you pretty much are sending yourself to destruction, because it's a penalty for taking it as an Israelite. So, the book of Revelations. Book of Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9, and it reads, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Because the penalty for basically receiving that mark is to receive, that ICBM, that nuclear hellfire, that fire that's going to be delivered by those intercontinental ballistic missiles that's going to fall and rain upon this place. That's your judgment, to try to hold on to this man's weak ass society. I was just talking to that Ephraimite, and he was going into it, and that's the crazy part about it. What will snap Jake or Ephraim or Israel's mindset back to, you get to talking about a child or something like that, and then they be like, oh damn, it's fucked up. What are you doing about it? As a man of the nation of Israel, you should be trying to, and he talking about leaving, the job. So I'll probably give him the truth then. It's been so much little weird shit happen at this job. You know what I mean? Now I've gotten in trouble for telling or speaking the truth at jobs. So, I try to be a little bit more cautious, because of course, you want to be zealous, but, scriptures talk about being wise as a serpent as well. You know what I mean? Like, I've already been through this, And then, like I said, I know these Edomites don't like me. I'm working at a job where the Edomites, you speak and the motherfuckers don't even speak. And I wish I did have that charisma, and it was charismatic and had the character where, you could just, you got, Esau believing that you a certain kind of way, or believe, what I mean? I was listening to the elder talk about how, he'll be dealing with Amalek, and they'll be giving him, tips and shit like that, you know what I mean? But with all that being said, yeah, that system is pretty much is being set up in our face as we speak, you know. And we just, you know, we waiting for prophecy to be fulfilled. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and to the commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to God, Elohim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKadosh Baruch. I say double honor to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwaz out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, and Kwam Yasharallah, shalom.